Back again, another YouTube drop. So today we've got a bit of a busier day. We are seeing one of the ladies that helps us out in the office. Obviously we can't go to the office, otherwise I would show you the office of Ultraflex. So we are off to see Becky. Becky's one of the ladies that organises a lot of things for us and helps us out. So I've got a couple of queries that I'm not going to show, but I've got a couple of queries that I need to see her for. So we are just on the way there, and today on the schedule we have a pull session going down. So we are going to go into a bit of a detail in the pull session of how we do things and what we are going to do and why we do things. So today is going to be more of a semi-educational. Dropping some knowledge bombs, bro. Yeah. That's how I like to put it. Don't know much, but what I do know I will drop. So not very much. It's going to be a short one. What's first, bro? It's going to be a short one. But first, obviously Jay's a coffee addict, so we're going to have to get him a coffee. Yeah, let's see how weird the setup is with the different walking and stuff. During the night, so definitely try and limit that.
We're going Costa Express, bro.
Fake Costa, bro. Fake
Costa.
No discount codes.
Meg 10.
I make it with love.
So look at the logic in this. I've got 2 lanes, right? Jay, check this out. Two lanes. No lanes. Stay in the lanes and then you stand together when you get past the lanes. Good job, guys. Good job.
Let's keep the gyms closed, though,
Yeah. It's not about keep the gyms closed, but you can go in a pub. We all know what happens in pub toilets. No social distancing, especially £1 notes. This is why your back is so developed and your chest is so underdeveloped.
Is that mine?
So I think with right exercise selection, even lockdown now, it's regardless of what training. Call my pre-workout, me love. Thank you. Let's do it. So, arrived, temporary destination for the headquarters. Pre-workout meal going down. Some gifts for Becky.
Are you asking Becky?
Good try.
Right, here we go.
Yeah.
You just witnessed this one.
Go ahead, print my name. Witness.
Good shoe.
Dress.
I don't know where.
Don't put the gym address, yeah, put yours.
Yeah. Another day, another dollar. Ain't nothing but a peanut, baby. I'm gonna bring my inner Ronnie Coleman out today. Everybody wanna be a bodybuilder? Ain't nobody wanna lift heavy ass weight.
0.3% body fat.
No, 0.03% body fat.
Okay, no.
And at one point, it was minus.
Right.
Guys, if anyone watches Joe Rogan podcast, and you're a bodybuilding fan, please do not watch the latest interview with Ronnie. I think, obviously, as you all know, he's had a lot of health implications, etc. I think if there's any person that should be interviewed and be able to show bodybuilding in a much better light, I think it should have been Jay Cutler, 100%.
Yeah, much better role model.
Yeah, it's not just that, but I think Jay has achieved so much in life and he's still healthy, he's still switched on. And I think because of all the operations Ronnie had and all the medication he has to take right now, I think he's not in the best of headspaces to be able to go through the full interview. But yeah. I should laugh at it really, but I can't, because I know that anyone who isn't really into bodybuilding, who sees that interview and knows anything about life, will probably watch it and think, Jesus, all bodybuilders must be a little bit crazy, not in a good way.
You're not crazy though, bro, are you?
No. The gym's still closed. However, the government has given the go-ahead for professional athletes and people who kind of generate the source of income from doing this. Obviously, myself and AJ have both got full contracts with Trainedbyjp, so we kind of have to keep this up. We have to continue training. We have to keep it up in order to get paid and keep our contracts going. So obviously we are allowed to do what we are doing right now, obviously still keeping social distancing, etc. So anyone has a pop at it, switch the channel off. Today we're starting with SLDL. So we are warming up hamstrings and glutes and a little bit of blood in his upper back, and then we're going to start building it up. So keep your eyes peeled. I have had a little hamstring niggle recently, so hopefully if all goes well I'll be able to pull. If I can't, I will probably rack pull. So we shall see. Now, just don't pay attention to this session. Everybody knows that my pulling's atrocious, so I'll still be stronger than him. Just not by much this time. Skip this session and watch the push session back. That gives you a reference.
Habit that you've done it on every single warm up. Every time you hit the floor,
when the hat comes off, you know it's business. My pulls need a lot of work, but again, we're always work in progress. So I'm gonna dead stop these, whereas when you look at AJ, his form's immaculate of pulling, so he's gonna go touch and go.
basically, the whole argument of touch and go is fatigue versus stimulus ratio. So I know that I can keep my form good with the touch and go, and I can reduce fatigue, but I can still use similar load. So if I can use more load with a better eccentric, and I'll go touch and go and reduce overall fatigue, it means it's going to have less of an effect on my other sessions. Whereas if I dead stop these and have to regroup at the bottom, rebrace, it absolutely buries me, and I can't really then perform in my preceding leg session, and that's what I found at least. So I think if you're proficient enough to go touch and go, then it's worth maybe trying it, especially if you're dieting down, you're trying to really limit fatigue. But obviously some pullers do suit dead stop. Dan Bastick, Jordan, it's immaculate dead stop pullers, but for me, I break down really quick and I cause a load of fatigue. So that's just the rationale. I'm used to doing with these with a stiff bar. We're using a deadlift bar at the moment, so for any of you that don't know the difference between bars, deadlift bar just essentially has a little bit of whip, which means that there's flexion in the bar, so as soon as you pull, first thing you got to do is pull the slack out. If the slack doesn't come out, the bar's not moving anywhere. And when you're doing touch and go, you hit the floor, you've not pulled the slack out, and it almost rotates in your hand. So I think for us, just spoke to Kuba, we'll probably go to stiff bar, out of the rack, touch and go next time. Similar to probably what some of you guys have seen on the site with Corinne and her deadlifts, because she breaks down similarly to me on the first rep, and it's just not worth the risk when we're dieting down to get a colossal injury for the
No profanities.
Yeah, she's saying sorry to me, not the audience, because they're not going to hear it.
for the yeah, it's not worth the risk for just a one dead stop rep.
So, I actually didn't do a death stop, simply because I did a couple extra warm-up sets. It felt good. I managed to keep the form tight, so I knew I could get away with it. So, this movement, there's two functions to this. One way is functional, other way is isolation. That's, thank you, Jordan Shallows, putting a bit more light to it, technicality. But yeah, if you pay attention to how we place our feet, we are placing our body weight on the same side arm, same side leg that we are pulling with. So that isolates the muscle. Whereas if you place the body weight on the counter leg, you produce counter force by stabilizing yourself with the opposite leg. Therefore, it's more working the function of your lat rather than isolation. More straight in a line, straight line. Come on. Yes, AJ. Come on. Hands Pound of cutting these videos. Anyway, back on Prime. We've got the Prime bar with D handles for the pull down now. The reason why I use D handles, I think the freedom motion allows me to stay connected with the lats a little bit more and take out the old bicep. And you can always play about with the grip. And in my opinion, supinated grip, slightly supinated, always feels that little bit better. We've been discussing the ways we kind of align ourselves in certain machines now. So the position that you put yourself in this machine makes a huge difference in terms of what you can actually row. So right now we are shifting our hips back, digging our chest into the pad, and that way the kind of tension changes completely. And I think you shorten your lat a lot quicker in that position, so it makes the move much harder rather than pushing your hips forward and kind of leaning back. So previously we was doing the stack for 12 plus reps.
Yeah, 10, 12.
Yeah, whereas right now we're probably 4 or 5 plates off the stack and we're hitting 10 reps. So I think sometimes if there's a way you can make a certain movement harder, you will always benefit from doing it harder rather than trying to take the easy way and shift more weight, so to speak. Sometimes it's better to get more out of less. Thing is, I was uber strict, so he's gonna have to replicate the form. If he gets sloppy, I win.
So if I win, they are sloppy. It's inevitable. It's like a prerequisite.
It's like getting a sports performance car and putting nitrous oxide in it. That's what's going to happen. So slowly I'll keep getting stronger while stage A just deteriorates.
I cannot wait.
How much confidence is he giving you here?
I'm buzzing. For the rest of my prep, I'm just looking forward to every session as I'm deteriorating, as you said, deteriorating. Welcome to natural bodybuilding.
So we are on to straight arm pull downs. This is what we call the AJ Morris version. This is basically what's going to build my lats. Beat that bit out. I do apologise for getting carried away with the language again.
I'm gonna have to get a sway box.
I know, pound each.
Pound every sway.
Anyways, this is a great move to finish the lats off. So we're going to do 2 working sets and a rest pause set on the second set, and then we are going to move on to a rear delt row on the prime machine. Prime. Do you know why? We've got plenty of prime.
What are the cues here?
You cue it.
Alright, so what Kuba's thinking about here is he's really thinking about taking those elbows, dragging them down to his hips, because that's the action of the lats. You don't often get to actually train the lat in isolation, in any movement really. You can just bring in other bits of your back. So by doing this, you're really able to take the lat through its actual range. So yeah, you almost want to think like someone's got a piece of string on your elbow and they're dragging it down towards your hip and the base of your spine. And then when you get there, think about trying to introduce a little bit of twist as well, so you're pulling it in and contracting the lat really hard, getting it short. Arguably, if you really struggle to connect with your lats, do this first. And maybe even think about trying it out with a cuff on the upper arm as well, and going like that. So, but I think Kuba might benefit from doing it first, but for people that connect okay with the lats, you can do it at the end of the session. It doesn't really matter in terms of sequencing, to be honest.
Another very good cue that he's just skimmed over there that I've learnt from him as well. It's mainly Jordan and AJ. When you look at the path their elbow takes, it's very, very similar. It doesn't just go through. The path is the elbow meets the lat, and then then it comes in and twists in. And that way, what the thought process behind that is they are trying to wrap their lats around the spine. So the motion is here, in, and then you rotate internally, boom. So in your head, all you've got to think is wrapping your lats around your spine.
Kuba's wanted me to run through a little bit of the exercise sequence. It's a very important thing to think about when it comes to programming a session. It's the order of exercises, especially when you're in a session like this, back, where there's a lot of exercises which require quite a large degree of neurological capacity. So we're looking at a stiff leg and a single arm dumbbell row. The neurological capacity required for those movements, which basically means how much attention do you have to give it, you know, how much of your brain is working to give action to these movements. So we want to place those movements at the beginning end of the session, especially something like a single arm dumbbell row, where we are coming into a position, a weakness here, and the load is getting heavy, heavy, heavy. It's a very hard movement because there's no drop off in the range in which we're weak. So we're going to have to put that where arguably we're a little stronger at the beginning of the session, and like I said, our focus and our attention is higher. And then as we come through the session, you'll notice we've introduced more chest supported movements, because we want to limit the amount of lower back loading or axial loading that we're doing later in the session, because we've got legs in 2 sleeps time. Now legs, we're already at a point in legs, aren't we, where we've removed pretty much most of the axial loading, which we were doing through a safety bar squat, and I was doing a back squat, and now we're doing pendulums and hacks. The reason being is we just get better stimulus out of them. And again, that is another, you don't want to just think about exercise sequence as in the session. You want to think about exercise sequences the whole week. So what is happening now that's going to affect what we're doing in 2 sleeps. So that's why we chest support everything else. We get into profiles like with the Prime kit, where we can manipulate the profile, have it drop off where we're weak. And that's pretty much it, guys. So, you know, I think the main crux of the matter is you need to look at this session, you need to think critically about whether your session makes sense. You don't need to know the ins and outs, you just need to know whether your session makes sense for you. Whether there's a huge drop off in performance at some point, or whether there's something you just don't connect with. Just reassess it, come back to these sessions and have a think. Oh, okay, Kuba's doing something smart here, or AJ's doing something smart here. And just think a little bit more critically about the way you set things up, session to session, microcycle to microcycle. So, hope that helps.
Definitely the key point is the exercise selection. Each movement has to complement one another, and I think every session now we have pretty much nailed that each movement complements one another, but not only the movements, but I think each session complements one another.
Yeah.
As our days fall, when the exercise selection is selected, so no sessions are impacted by what we do previous days. I think that's very important. That's something that I have learned over the past 12 to 16 months that has definitely contributed to me making a substantial amount of progress. So, like I said, I really think in the past 2 years probably the progress I've made is simply down to better knowledge in regards to training, execution, and obviously being able to train with people like AJ, Jordan, and obviously being able to learn from them as well. And I think that definitely makes a huge difference.
You just said how 2 years, you know, it's a lot of trial and error, guys. You're going to get a lot wrong before you get it perfect. And we've not got it perfect. No one's got it perfect. There's no perfect split. And it's a constant adaptation. Right? Join us in 8 weeks' time, I guarantee something's changed. Guarantee we're doing something different, because there's no one right way. It's a constant adaptation to the circumstance. If we slept well, we dropped 2 pounds that week, are we stressed, you know? So yeah, be mindful and be willing to manipulate everything needed.
Me and AJ just touched on our biggest sessions probably last around 2.5 to 3 hours, and these are the sessions that we largely contribute all our progress to in hindsight. So I think many people can't handle it, however we don't care, we love it, we do the job regardless how long it takes. So generally it takes us around 15 to 20 minutes. That's probably warm up, mobility work, a little bit of rehab work before we start actually training, and a little bit of activation work as well before we actually start. So normally we start around 4 o'clock. By the time we do our first working set after warm-ups, sometimes it's 5, and like today, because we were deadlifting, it took us around 30 minutes until actually work was just up to our top set. So today's session will last just under 3 hours. However, we both agreed these are the sessions that have built what we have and are continuing to build everything we've got. So we grip as teeth, get it done. Like I mentioned, my training has really evolved the past 2 years, and now both of us especially can keep the intensity up throughout long sessions, and I think that's something that has to be learned over time, and it takes ages. It takes such a long time, and I always preach this to my clients when they get really disheartened where they can't get certain movements right, or they can't really keep the intensity going all throughout the session. It really takes time. Like, I've been competing since I was 16, I've been coaching since I was 18, and now I'm 25, and I've only just, I feel like I've only just reached a sensible level in terms of I almost know what I'm doing. Almost, not quite, but almost. Just pay attention to my arm. So, this is the natural position of my arm. So, I'm not forcing my arm to be in this position, whereas if the cable is straight here, I'm forcing my arms to be in. So, what you've got to look at is the right position for you to be in is turn your arms out and let your arms sit by your rib cage, sit by your side. This is the right position. So doing it this movement, it's not really going to hurt your elbows or any connective tissue. The reason why people get tendonitis is because they are forcing their arms to be in certain positions, and then they try and train the bicep or tricep, and when they are in a certain position, obviously your arm isn't actually meant to go that way. So that's where the issues come from. So this is the wrap session over. So we're pretty much covered everything. There's nothing else we need to add, to be honest. Absolutely smashed now. So I think we are going to wrap up on a little gym update. So let me just go through with all the points before we get going. There's actually that much that we actually have planned for the place before we open. It's pretty much all on this email, so I'm just gonna revise it a little bit so I don't miss anything off, just so you're all in the loop of what we've got planned for the future of Ultraflex Rotherham. And the improvements aren't just going to be for this gym. I know that each and every gym is making a lot of new improvements in regards to the setup, new equipment, even things like sound system is getting upgraded. So we are literally not missing a single thing off the list. So first and foremost, we are expanding the car park. So right now we've got some building alterations to the car park to create more parking and more space, as at key times, obviously at peak hours, the car park does get very, very busy, so we have to make sure that we accommodate extra parking space for all our members. So we are definitely taking that into consideration in priority of improvements that we are making in the gym. The second improvement is we've got a new AstroTurf coming, the Astro track that we have running near the area, near the powerlifting area. Then we have a 210-inch projector screen that's coming on the front wall in the gym. So anyone who's enjoying the cardio will be able to now have a little bit of a better view with a 210 screen that will be playing all sorts of videos on YouTube, etc. Then we have brand new sunbeds put in with a lot stronger and better tubes. We've got new sofas, we've got small canvases and artwork all over the gym coming as well. So now when you come back, you will see plenty of new artwork and canvases scattered around the gym, just to give a little bit more vibe and add a little bit to the atmosphere. A lot more walls made for attachments, so you will never ever see any attachments on the floor. We are looking to organize things much more efficiently, so the gym is a lot tidier, especially at peak hours when the gym is busy. So we're definitely looking to things that we can do to obviously improve that as well. And we will, by the time you guys are back in the gym training, we have also ordered new upholstery for all the benches, so you will have some very, very comfy seats, so to speak, whenever you come back. Again, all the benches will be tidied up and upgraded, as some of them did have a little bit of wear and tear. Nothing bad, but again, we want to make sure that we have a bit of a wow factor when we do open back up. We have 4 new machines coming up on the arrival of the lockdown being lifted. So we have a Nautilus pull down, we have a Nautilus shoulder press, we have the Nautilus glute drive, and we will have a new adductor machine landing as soon as we are open. So next we have another 1,000 kilo of plates already arrived, ready for you guys to be used. Brand new plates, 20 kilo plates from Rogue, so they are the best in the industry as well. And then for the future, we will get 4 hoist pieces of equipment. For those of you guys that don't know Hoist, it's an American brand. It's one of the best kit in the world. They actually have a lot of pieces in Gold's Gym, so we will be looking at getting 4 pieces of equipment from them, and that will be getting ordered when the gym is open and we have got a hang of things and got everything in place that we have planned first and foremost. So I just want to say a massive thank you to each and every single member that has continued paying the membership and stayed with us and supported us throughout this time. Like I said, we haven't just been sitting back waiting for things to open. We have been working very, very hard to bring something even better, and not so much rebrand, but we definitely want to bring back a wow factor when we can open the gyms again. So please keep your eyes peeled. We will be making a video for you all guys, just to give you a bit of a sneak peek before we open. So that's another video wrapped up, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything else you want to see, please hit me up. I will be getting more content out to you guys, so please leave your comments below. Let me know what you want to see, let me know what you liked and what you didn't like. But yeah, as always, I really appreciate it. Much love, guys, and stay safe. I'll be back soon.